Sunday, March 1st, CPAC 2021 is being held. Now, why is that important to anybody that's not a conservative? Well, it's important because one of the guest speakers is going to be none other than Donald J. Trump. During that time, I expect him to accomplish a few goals in his speech. First and foremost, I expect him to put an end to this discussion of a third party, a patriot party that some have discussed possibly coming about in the aftermath of what conservatives view as betrayal by the Republican Party, namely Mitch McConnell. Now, I think Donald Trump will put an end to that very quickly in this speech, and I think he'll do that because he knows if he were to form his own party, it would split the vote of the Republicans, but it would do nothing to hurt the Democrats, meaning every election from here on out would be a landslide victory by the Democrats. So he knows he has to hold the base together. There are 75 million people that voted for him, and he's not about to cut that in half or even cut it down to 3/4 of that vote total by branching off into his own party. So what I think he will actually focus on is bringing the party together, but bringing it back under the umbrella of the MAGA movement, which basically means he is going to be speaking to them and letting them know that as of right now, and more than likely in 4 years from now, that he will be the presumptive favorite for the GOP nomination. That's all there is to it. I think he's going to embrace that. Now, I don't think he's going to actually say he is running for sure in 2024. I think his motive is actually to make sure that he can, guide future politicians or people that are going to be up for office in 2 years. Basically guide the narrative, guide the direction of the Republican Party. Basically making it very clear to them that if you don't go along with the MAGA movement and continue this direction of America first, then you're more than likely not going to survive these next few elections. Now, do I think he will run in 2024? I do have a sneaking feeling that he will. Now, why I say that is I honestly think what just happened with him losing is an absolute blessing in disguise for him. And why I say that for this reason. So Donald Trump spent 3 years of his presidency having just a phenomenal presidency. You don't have to like him, and you probably, if you don't like him, you would never admit how great he really had it, how well he did. But the reality is this. The unemployment numbers were unbelievable. The stock market was unbelievable. People's retirements, unemployment amongst blacks and females was unbelievable. I mean, income levels for black people rose for the first time in forever. No new wars were started, which was the first time in forever. I mean, he did a lot of remarkable policy things. He really did a phenomenal job. Now, the final year, obviously, was, resulted because of a pandemic. I mean, you can't blame him for it. Nobody in the entire world handled it well. But obviously the left used it against him in order to achieve, a Biden victory. But the reality is this. Donald Trump was kind of at a point where, things were great, and then it hit a wall at the pandemic. But taking a 4-year hiatus to basically just let somebody like Joe Biden, who, to be honest with you, is like this close to being senile, if he's not already there, is only going to make Donald Trump look better in 4 years. His 3 of his 4 years as president were phenomenal. Joe Biden already has been a disaster. His policies are horrid. He literally hasn't come through on any of his promises. He's actually backtracked pretty much all of them. His response to COVID's been an absolute disaster. it's been horrendous, and it's not going to get any better, folks. There's no chance. Joe Biden's not even going to. I used to think he may last, maybe 2 years because he's old and to be honest with you, just kind of an idiot. But I don't know that he's really going to last past a year at this point, which means Kamala Harris is going to become the president. And if you think that they're going to be able to run for presidency again in 2024 and get 85 million votes when they don't have a pandemic in order to that can justify mass mail-in ballots, that can justify just mailing out ballots to people that didn't even request them, that don't even hit any of the historic numbers of rejection rates for signatures, that type of stuff was a one-off. It's not going to ever happen again. They're going to get tighter in 2024, all those rules, which means you're not going to have 85 million people mailing in their ballots. It's not going to happen. So they're going to then have to count on at least 75 million and probably more because, as I've stated multiple times, there was a recent report that came out that said if the media would have told everybody, the voting public, about Joe Biden's past, and they will tell everybody about Kamala Harris's past in 4 years when she'll be the candidate, if they would have told the public about his past, about his legal issues with women, about his 90s crime bill that severely punished black people, about all the times that he said the N-word and every other racist comment he's had, and stuff about his son Hunter Biden, all that stuff, if that would have come out, coupled with if they would have actually reported the truth about Donald Trump, about the things that he did that I described earlier, 17% of the people in the swing states of this last election said they would have changed their vote from Biden to Trump. 17%. That's a win, by the way. Trump wins the election right there. But our media did a very good job of basically keeping information from everybody. That, again, it's all in the past at this point. But the reality is knowing that information, probably at least 10%, so we won't go all the way up to 17%, but 10% probably that voted for Biden in those swing states, they're not voting for him in 4 years. I'll tell you that right now. I guarantee you they feel deceived. I would. So you're going to need at least probably 80 million votes because, again, Trump's votes, that 75 million came from people walking to polls and submitting those ballots. 75 million. He had 75 million, the most of any sitting president in history, and he barely got them from mail-in ballots. You're not going to be able to mail in 85 million ballots next time, and you're not even going to have 85 million people willing to vote for you. So you're probably looking closer to, give Trump 5 million of those votes. He's at 80 now. Even if all those people, like the 90% plus that voted by mail in the last election, if all of them were to actually vote legally and show up at the polls, you're going to have to get 80 million of them to show up. That's not going to happen, folks. So really, why I say this actually ended up working out very well for Trump is this, and really backfired badly on the Democrats, is that if you wanted only 4 years, you wanted 0 of Trump, let's be realistic, but you got 4 years, and you were like, oh, great, we're going to get him out. Then we're going to try to impeach him, and we're going to try to convict him so that he can never run again. Well, that all failed. So now you had 4 years, but it's, and I'm sure their thought is, well, at least we were done with him after 4. Well, now as of Sunday when he speaks, that fire's reignited. He's back in the picture, and he's the entire Republican Party again. It's going to be 4 years of Trump basically contradicting every stupid thing Biden and Kamala Harris do. Everything. So then you're going to have You're going to have a landslide in 2022. I guarantee you that. The Republicans are going to destroy the Democrats. We saw that in this last election. Everything but the presidency, the Republicans destroyed them. The only positive of the entire thing for the Republicans was getting Warnock and Ossoff on a technicality where where people had to resubmit their votes, and then they end up basically winning because Biden lies about $2,000 stimulus checks and bullshit like that, and people are that stupid. And coupled with, I guarantee you, a ton of questionable things by people like Stacey Abrams. And Raphael Warnock, for that matter, who's under investigation right now. So you go from there, okay? You're going to have 4 years of Trump right now. So you had 4 of him as president. You're going to have 4 of him where he's untethered. He doesn't even have to be president now. He can just literally just dictate the thoughts and actions of people for the next 4 years. Now you have 8 years of Trump being a very, very powerful voice. Then he's going to run again in 2024, and he's going to win. I'm sorry, he's going to. Now you have a 12-year window when, if you wouldn't have been so ridiculously adamant about changing voting laws and rules just to get a man out, and then try to impeach him on just stupid stuff. At worst, you would have had him for 8 years and you would have never heard of him again. The MAGA movement would have been gone and done with. It would not have carried on past the 8 years. Now it's going to carry on for this 8. So the last 4, this 4 that's about to start on Sunday, and then the next 4 when he wins the presidency in 2024. You're going to have 12 solid years of this movement. Okay? At that point, this is going to be the norm. It's going to be 12 years of this. At that point, MAGA's not going anywhere. America is going to be a country that's going to fix all the stupidity that's going on right now, all this censorship, all of this. We're going to call boys girls and girls boys, and we're going to let boys play girls sports, and we're going to just try to take your guns. We're going to try to censor your speech. We're going to change rules in voting. All this type of stuff is going to come back to bite you in the ass, because in the end, people are going to show up at those polls in 4 years, and Donald Trump's going to be loaded with ammunition to fight back. He's going to be able to point out all of this garbage that you guys have been doing because you don't see the big picture. The problem is you did this with Obama. And what ended up happening? You got Donald Trump. You got Donald Trump because people don't like your policies. They're awful policies. This is the United States of America. You are treating it like communist Russia. You're treating it like the Soviet Union, where you want to censor everybody, you want to bully everybody, you want to take away everybody's rights and their freedoms, and you want to just give crap away like a communist country would until you drive us into the ground. Well, the problem is Americans don't really like that stuff, and they don't really support it. They stupidly fall into the trap every once in a while, like they just did with Joe Biden, like they stupidly did with Barack Obama. But once that we get wind of what's going on, we change course really, really quickly. And again, that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. It's what makes our country so great. But again, the biggest issue is usually we switch course to a completely different vision and a completely different person. What you guys did is you gave rise to what was already gone. You're literally going to create a phoenix type mentality around Donald Trump. You tore him down. You did everything you possibly could. But you're about to see his rebirth. He's going to rise from those ashes. And when he does, it's going to be a movement that's going to be way worse than you saw before, man. I mean worse in a good way. You probably mean in a bad way. But either way, We're all going to be witness to it. Good luck.